indications. Level 1 is all about indications, and the reason that we ask you to focus so much on them is because it's a really vital part of scent work, and it's one that people often overlook when they get excited and want to train their dog to find things. I know this because I did. I overlooked it, and then I ended up with a dog that just wanted to eat the scent because they were so excited about the game, and it caused us problems. So what we do with this is we ask our dogs to perform a behaviour based on a command, and the command in this case is the smell. So if you've already taught your dog to sit, as an example, you probably have a physical command or a verbal command, and your dog responds to that. This is no different. It's just that instead of a physical or verbal command, we're using a scent. So we're teaching our dog, you smell this, you do that. So what can we ask them to do? Well, we could ask them to retrieve it. We could ask them to sit down next to it. We could ask them to put their nose on it, to bark at it, to stare at it. We could ask them to spin round and round and round in circles. I don't suggest it, but you could. You could ask them to scratch at it. You could ask them to lie down and rub themselves on it. Anything is acceptable if it is clear. So I'm going to quickly run through 3 of the main ones that I tend to teach. That's a retrieve, a nose target, or a stare. A stare is often combined with either a sit or a down. That's up to the dog. I don't ask them to do it specifically. We just look for the stare. So the nose target, which is the first one I tend to teach as a priority, as the main one, is we have something that dog can put their nose on. This has got holes in it, so we can put the scent in there. This is a herb pot from a major internet seller. I won't mention names. We put the scent in there and we hold it out for the dog. The dog will probably look at it, and when they look at it, I mark it with my marker word, which in my case is either yes or good, depending if I'm working with my girl or my boy. And then I throw a treat away and I wait for them to come back. They look at it, yes, throw a treat away. Next they come back, they look at it and they go, well, where's my treat? I don't say anything. They come a little closer. Yes, throw a treat away. And I build up like that until their nose is touching it. And with the moment their nose touches it, yes, throw the treat. Yes, throw the treat. And then all we have to do is build up that hold on there. So it's a case of nose touches, comes away, where's my word? Touches, comes away, where's my word? Touches for a fraction of a second longer, yes, throw the treat. So we just look at building up that incremental hold. So hopefully you'll now see a little video of my girl doing just that. Okay, so for my nose target, I'm going to use this as my target point. This is an ashtray. Yes, Meg, I know you want to play. It's an ashtray with holes in the lid. It's never been used as an ashtray, but it's absolutely perfect for scent work because you can pop your scent inside. If you live in the UK, I buy these from B&M. Not all B&Ms stock them, but if they do, they're £1. So what we would do is we'll get our scent. I've got a rather large strip because that's going to be used as a retrieve item shortly. And you pop that in your tub. Now you could use a plastic pot with holes dug in the top, or maybe even a yogurt pot with holes in the top. Whatever it is, put your lid on, scent in, holes that you can your dog can smell the item through. And what you're looking for is a nose touch. Now Meg knows this game very well, so we're going to be quick about it, so that you can see the kind of starting points. Yes. So her nose comes in, I say yes, and she gets a treat. Yes. Nose comes in, touches it, she gets a treat. You might not get that touch really quickly. You just have to build up the look to start with, and then the touch. And then once you've got a touch, we need to get a duration of touch. So, yes. So what you have to do is just wait a fraction of a second. Yes. Before you say your word. Now I would normally throw a treat away for her, but because I want her to stay on camera, I'm giving it to her directly. But the reason I throw a treat away is so that your dog kind of runs off and then comes back and nose targets this. Yes. So because Meg knows this game so very, very, very well, she can hold her duration for a little while. The way you build up duration is you get a slight nose target, and then once you've got that, you just have to wait. Oops, sorry, sweetheart. You just have to wait them out. You just have to wait for them to give you a tiny bit more and say yes. If they keep taking their nose off too quickly, go back a step, say it faster, or say it with a shorter time period. But you need to build up that little bit of duration. Yes, good girl. Retrieve. Now, I strongly recommend, if you're going to use a retrieve, it's something that you already have. There are plenty of videos on YouTube to teach retrieves, but if you're going to do it, my recommendation is start with hold and give. So your dog holds the item and then they give it to you. Asking your dog to do a retrieve when you don't have a good give or a good dead or whatever word you want to use generally means your dog isn't going to let go of it because they're too excited and it's really thrilling. So start with a hold and a give. Once you've got that, you want to start using a scented item. Now you can either scent up something that's long like this, or you could use you can get dummies that have a pouch, so it rolls up. You put food in it, it rolls up, and you can do that. Then I would use the same motion as hold, but rather than using a command hold, I would maybe use find. Hold it out, find, give, and then they get the treat, or they get to play, or however you reinforce what you've just done. Find, give, play. And you only use that word when you are using your scented dummy or your scented retrieve article. And you would scent it up. If you're using a big dummy, you might want a large tin or a very large jar, and just keep repeating that. Once you've got that, once you're pretty sure your dog knows what's what, you're going to want to have better have some items, a scented one and an unscented one. Then you're going to hold them out or put them on the floor, say find. When they bring you the correct one, the one that is scented, then you reinforce it. Hopefully, we now have a video of my dog doing just that. So, scent with a retrieve. Jack is a very enthusiastic dog. He's also getting clipped little by little at the moment, which is why his fur is a mess. So, the way that I would do this is I have a scented swatch and I'm going to ask him to hold and give it back. But instead of hold, I'm going to use the word find. Find. Give. Good boy. Oops, sorry. Find. Give. Good lad. Find. Give. Good boy. I didn't say anything, did I? Find. Give. Good boy. Sit. Sit. Find. Give. Good boy. So when he already knows the action of, thank you, Jack. When he already knows the action of hold and give, just introduce a different word for a scented item. This currently smells of cloves. Find. Give. Good boy. So that is how you start your indication for a retrieve. Find. Give. Good boy. So lastly, stare. I would start this by using a piece of food, and it's a little bit like impulse control, if you've ever taught that. Personally, if I'm teaching impulse control, I want my dog to look at me, not the item. However, in this case, we want them to look at the item. So what I would do is hold a piece of food in a closed fist. My dog's going to potentially nibble, lick, get interested, want that food. The moment they back off, yes, give them the treat. Nibble, 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 yes. Back off, yes, give them the treat. Food in the hand, nibble, nibble, back off, yes, give them the treat. Now the important thing is to say yes, or whatever marker word you're using. It might be good, click, tag, ick, when the dog is backed off from your hand but looking at it. Now once you've got that, I would then switch to using something that has food in it, and this is where a pot like this is handy. Reason being is because it's a good idea to start with something visual that you can then repeat. So I would put my food in my pot, make sure that the hole is open. Dog sniffs, nibble, 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 back off, yes, throw my treat. Don't take the one out of here, so that they start to learn that what's in here is the smell, but I throw the treat elsewhere. Once they have learned that staring at this is going to get them the treat, you introduce a second pot. This one will have food, this one won't. They only get food thrown for them when they stare at the correct pot. And that is how we start to build up the association that if I stare at the scent, I get reinforced. You don't have to use a treat, you can use a toy for the same thing. If you do use, as I say in the scent video, if you do use Kongs to feed your dogs for dinner, I don't suggest using it for scent work. But if you don't, then you could, there's no reason why you can't use this as the thing that they stare at. If you do, you're going to struggle having a secondary one. So you will have to move on to hiding this. And then you have the joyful job of chopping one of these up into small pieces, and that is not an easy task. Thanks, Jack. He agrees with me. It's not an easy task. It is doable. People do it. But you would want to chop this up into much smaller pieces so that you can hide small pieces of Kong. Hopefully, there's now a video of my dog searching or indicating with a sit stare. Right, so for teaching a stare, I've got a pot of food, and Meg is going to demonstrate how well she can stare at food. So I'm going to hold my hand, she's going to nibble it and scratch it. Yes! I don't say the magic word until she is looking at it. If she's looking at me, she's looking at the wrong thing. Yes! So because she's learnt not to look at it, I'm having to encourage her a little bit. Yes! Yes! So I want her to be looking at it and not at me. Yes! Once you've done that several times, you would introduce, and your dog is consistently looking at the treat. Yes! So I'm just holding the pot. It has the treat in it. What I would normally do is throw a treat away so that she comes back and looks at this rather than just being sat here. but you can wave it around if you've got to be sat in the same place. Yes! She's looking. Yes! Yes! Okay, and once you've done that, you would swap the treat in that for the scent that you want to use. If you want to keep using food, you can do, but what I would recommend is that you don't hide food in a search area that is not covered, because then your dog will potentially eat it, and that is not an indication that we count in scent search skills. So swap it for the scent. Make sure the hole is open. Hole is open. Yes! She gets her treat. Yes!